Peter's sister is very naughty. Class, what do you do? Have everyone do the silly face? What is this? My students don't even want to leave class after the bell rings. It's called TPRS. If you haven't watched the first two videos, make sure to watch them first because those form the foundation for today. The links are below. So here are the steps to preparing for TPRS. First, you need to choose the vocabulary you use. Make sure you have a variety of vocabulary that involves nouns, verbs, adverbs, and adjectives. Try to choose high-frequency words that students will often hear and be able to use. We also call this active vocabulary because it's really useful and meaningful for them to learn these. Remember to stay in bounds and don't teach too many new words at one time, or that would be overwhelming. Also, try to think about the ways your students would usually speak and add in words that would be interesting to them. For your second step, you can prepare a simple script for yourself. This can just be a script outline where you bold the words that you're trying to teach your students and won't change, and then underline places where your students can contribute in the story and change it as we go. The third step happens when you go into the classroom. You write the new words on the board and pair this with TPR, which we talked about in our video before. Come up with gestures for every word so that students become comfortable and familiar with listening to it and understanding its meaning. Then ask them PQAs, personalized questions and answers, that engage students. This will give you material in telling the story, and it also helps them to understand the vocabulary that we just learned and make it relevant to their lives. The fourth step is telling the story. In this step, keep the story basic and simple using the new vocabulary words and the information your students provide to you. Make the story lighthearted, funny, and entertaining as you go, like they were walking slowly, or quickly, or running as fast as you can. If you teach younger students, you can try to use puppets or older students' props to make the story more interesting. You can also personalize the story by using names of students in the classroom. You can invite students to contribute by adding more spice to the story, as well as making them characters within your story that they need to act. So for example, maybe your story is about Peter and the motorcycle. So you have a student be Peter, and he has to act out the story as you narrate. This tests their listening skills, as well as makes it very entertaining for the rest of the class. Some classes, teachers like to involve their students by having them react to the story, like saying, ooh, or oh, or boo, as they go along the story. This is up to your teaching style. I've once seen a class that I really enjoyed where the teacher had different sections of the students be different animals. So let's say we have a story about lions and frogs. So whenever the students heard the word lion in the story, they had to all go roar. And when the other group of students heard frog, they had to go ribbit, 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 ribbit. As the class joins you for gestures and movements and sounds, they become very engaged in the story as they listen carefully to the words you are saying. As you tell the story, you can use circling to help you gauge whether the students are really understanding you. If they don't understand, you might need to pause and review some vocabulary and explain a few more things. And if they do understand, then you can move on quickly to the rest of the story. The final step in TPRS is doing a reading comprehension. Now this can come right after the lesson where you give them a script that contains a similar story with the vocabulary you want to teach them and have them do a reading exercise. Or you can save it for the next lesson where you compile this class's story so that they feel a sense of ownership over it. It's really important to let students read in writing what was just taught because that again helps consolidate what they learned and gives another form and medium for them to practice these new vocabulary words in writing form. So now let's do a simple demonstration of TPRS. Let's say I want to teach my students these words: naughty, yell, throw, jump. First, I will write all these words on the boards and pair them up with TPR so they know what the word is and pair it up with the action. I will go through it a few times until they're very familiar. So before I start the story, I'm going to first ask some PQAs to personalize the story to our students. For example, I might ask them, do you have brothers and sisters in your family? Who has one brother? Who has 3 sisters? And then I will ask, who is the naughtiest person in your family? And get answers from them. I might also ask, what are the naughtiest things your brothers and sisters have done? And if there were new vocabulary words, I might add them to my story by writing it on the board and giving it an action. I will involve the class in the creation of the story by asking them questions. So for example, I will say, class, do you think today's story is about a boy or a girl? No, it's not a girl today. It's a boy. What's the name of the boy? Students might give different answers. No, it's not Henry. No, it's not Tom. Yes, it's Peter. Now, Peter has a younger sister. How old do you think Peter's younger sister is? Then again, hear your students' answers. Say no, 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 yes, until you get the right answer that you want to direct your story towards. Now you can start telling your story. Okay, class, now you will all act as Peter's naughty little sister. So every time you hear me say naughty, you have to all go like this. So, are you ready to begin? Let's go. Peter's little sister is very naughty. What do you do? Okay, then you want the whole class doing a silly face? She is so naughty, she jumps on his bed. Now, because the whole class is the naughty little sister, you have everyone jump up in class. Peter yells, "Stop it!" So you can have one student or a group of students be Peter. And so when you say Peter yells, "Stop it," they all have to yell, "Stop it!" And the little sister runs away. Again, have everyone that's the little sister start running in place. Peter's sister is very naughty. Class, what do you do? Have everyone do the silly face. She sits on the cat's tail and makes the cat go meow. Peter yells, "Stop it!" And the little sister runs away. Okay, class, run away. Peter's sister is very naughty. She throws her food on the floor as she eats. Peter gets upset and yells. And Peter's little sister? So involve your students as you go on and continue on with the story until you go through the whole thing and they have a fun time and you ask good questions, they're engaged, and they will remember the story. Hope this gives you a sneak preview of what TPRS can look like. Of course, it's way more fun when you do it with your class and you get really cute and funny answers and involve them in the story. Try it out in your class and don't worry if it fails the first time. Sometimes it takes a few practices before you find your storytelling style. If you have any good story scripts or ideas you want to share with us, tell us in the comments below. Stay tuned for our next video. Bye!